After the brief comes the business idea. Here you should take the business idea you outlined in the brief and explain it in more detail. The brief requires you only to outline the basic concept, but the section of the plan devoted to the business idea allows you to really go into depth. It usually begins with the mundane but essential determination of the legal form of the company. Consider in detail which legal form you would like it to assume, because this will partly determine how you should proceed from there on in. If in time you'd like to achieve high levels of growth and acquire large amounts of capital, it's a good idea to found a limited liability company rather than a smaller individual enterprise. But this is an excessively varied and complex topic for which I won't offer guidance here. It's too complicated and too dependent on a large number of individual factors. The main message to take away from this is that the legal form of your company is an extremely important issue. Then, how high are your capital resources? How much capital do you already have? How much capital is available from your side? And having established this, can you then reasonably approach potential partners and say, I'm investing X amount of money myself and I need a contribution from your side too. Within your business concept, it's very important to establish exactly how the business will be seen. It goes without saying that the capital structure must also be decided. Borrowed capital, owned capital, invested capital. You must specify how much you have of each. If you've not yet founded your business, you must specify the location in which you wish to do so. Where do you see the company going? Should it be located in a village or a town? Should you establish primary and secondary locations? Decide what you want to set up. Then evaluate the success factors, i.e., state why you believe the business will succeed. This is an interesting question. Many people judge their ability to be successful on the success of others with similar ventures. When, for example, someone opens a restaurant, this restaurant here is successful. If I open one, mine will be too. Or another example, this hairdressing salon is doing well. I'm going to establish one as well. Not necessarily. The profitability of a business depends primarily on its founder, on the entrepreneur themselves. It depends on how you are wired, on what kind of attitude you have, on what you actually want to achieve. There are people who have business ideas and who turn them into super successful ventures, making millions or even billions from them. Others make nothing at all. These are the people who fail to study the market. Let's take Mark Zuckerberg as a simple example. He founded Facebook as a young student. If he'd come to me a few years beforehand and told me, Henning, I have a brilliant idea for a social network, people would exchange messages back and forth about what they're doing and what they just saw at the cinema. Can you visualize such a platform? One through which people can manage all of their social contact with others. Do you know how I would have responded? I would have said, think it through again. I wouldn't have seen the enormous business potential behind it. The same goes for search machines. I wouldn't have recognized the potential there either. Given everything I've described above, it's therefore crucial to think about success factors. Before you do anything else, you must decide whether or not you think your project will yield success. Whether or not you have the vision. This is very, very important. And when you want to acquire money for this project, capital from external sources, you must demonstrate your reasoning and your vision in this evaluation of your success factors, so that others believe in you and will provide the money you need. This is crucial. Then we move on to market strategy. How will you move the venture forwards? How do you intend to enter the market? What kind of strategy do you have? Do you intend to enter the market head first and then expand? Not to wait until you've reached a certain size, but to dive in and then to expand the market as you begin to have success. Next to be addressed, if you still don't have one, is the company name. This should be decided in accordance with the topics we've already covered. However, as we've already mentioned, this is only necessary in the case of new startups. If you've been established for some time already, it's very likely that you already have one. As a next step, and one that is absolutely crucial, you should plan your business goals for the next 3 to 5 years. A business plan is not a current snapshot. Rather, it's a forecast or projection, a goal that you have for you and your business. It's very important now that you look to the next 3 to 5 years. If you look at many firms today, they fail even to make it to the end of the first year. Why? Because they don't know what they intend to be doing in 2 years' time. Of course, this is not entirely true. They might have a rough idea, but the problem consists in the fact that longer-term outlook is missing. Am I going to expand? Will I open more locations? Will I employ more staff? Do I want to make millions or just a comfortable income? Do I want to do much of the work myself, or do I want to work only a few hours? All this can play a part in determining your goals, and for this reason, it's very important that you plan them a few years ahead. Only when you plan ahead can you really gain a clear vision of how you want your business to be. Only when you visualize it, when you say, okay, in 5 years I imagine my business being this and that, there are visualization techniques to help you do so. A brilliantly helpful thing, but another topic. And when you imagine how you want your business to look in 3 to 5 years, you have a fantastic opportunity to work this into your business plan. Nobody will give you money if you say, no, in 2 years I'm not sure. In 5 years, okay, it'll be like it is now. Nothing really has to change. The problem occurs with the words, like it is now. That cannot work. There must always be growth. Nature continues to grow and evolve, and so must each and every business. You can't stand still. You must always be moving forwards. And because of this, it's important that you do as I recommend. Look to the future. Visualize where you want your business to be after 2 years or after 5. Very important. When you're formulating your business goals on paper, it's a good idea to remember this little tip. Tack on 20% more when you're setting your goals in private than when you present them to a bank. When you take your financial plan to the bank, subtract 20% from your projections. Bankers tend to be conservative and may not possess the same enthusiasm for your business that you do. It's important that you adjust your estimates down to accommodate this. When you are writing them for yourself and the business alone, you can set them a little higher. Just a little tip. So we move on to the next category, your product or service. The first thing to consider here is, what will you actually sell? Describe briefly and concisely what you're actually going to sell. This is very important. Many people claim they're selling hamsters, when in fact they're selling guinea pigs. Therefore, it's crucial that you take some time to consider what your product or service is actually going to be. Let's say you're selling tiled stoves. Now, you're really selling tiled stoves, or are you selling the comforting heat that comes with it? To be completely honest, I myself have a tiled oven, and I wanted to get it not because of the oven itself, but because of the heat it would provide me. So once more, think over what you're actually selling. This brings us neatly to the next point, the consumer benefits. What are the benefits of your product for the consumer? There is the saying, what's in it for me? This is what each and every customer asks themselves when buying anything. When a customer is surfing the internet and comes across the sign-up box for your newsletter, What's in it for me? Put simply, that means that the consumer benefits must be very clearly set out, and also that there must be evidence of real, tangible benefit for the buyer or the firm you're working with. When you consider the consumer benefit, you must think long and hard about the real advantages behind your product. Product characteristics are also very important. If you're going to sell a product, you must be able to visualize exactly what sort of product you have in mind. The product characteristic stage is the first point at which you should attempt to describe this in detail. A little further back in the plan, when you're considering what you will sell, you might present only a simple overview of the product. A brief, concise overview will also suffice at the stage of considering consumer benefits. With the product characteristics, you can go into more detail. Let's say you're selling solar energy systems that are manufactured here in location A. Note down the characteristics or features of solar panels produced at this location, and then write down how and which of their features make them better than the competition. The product characteristics tend to be rooted in technical information. Numbers, specifications and facts are all given at this stage. We move on from here to trademark protection and patents. If you're hoping to make any money, this stage is very important. Imagine this. You develop something, make money from it, and do not acquire a patent. Then your business is snatched away from you. Somebody else has snapped up the patent and you've been left empty-handed. Because of this, trademark protection and patents are crucial. One of the most important issues you will consider and should be thought of as such and dealt with accordingly. Pricing is also an important topic. Here's a small example that demonstrates why. This axis represents historical prices. Here at the top are the most expensive items, and here are the cheapest. And here we see that the bulk lies somewhere in the middle. This represents the situation in the 70s and 80s. For many years we've been hearing that the gap between rich and poor is becoming wider, that some products are becoming ever more expensive and others becoming ever cheaper. And now we're essentially in a situation, and this has been proven by numerous studies, where we have many more products than ever before located in the high-priced region and many more located in the cheap region. This means that the middle region is continuing to taper. Those starting business ventures frequently spout identical statements on pricing. Let's say you're starting a fitness studio. What kind of fitness studio will you aim to create? Well, one in the mid-price range, many will reply. A hairdressing salon, the mid-price bracket. Restaurant, I think the middle price segment. But are these people positioning themselves correctly? This is something I'll talk more about later. If you position yourself in the high price region, you must deliver good quality products or services. You cannot simply raise your prices and say, I'm charging a lot, great. No, the service must befit the price. Alternatively, you could orientate yourself more towards the cheaper region. This middle segment will continue to get smaller. This is a trend that has been demonstrated very clearly, as well as having been publicised for a number of years. It becomes ever more apparent that products are being geared either towards this high-priced region or towards the low-priced or budget region. The middle region is becoming ever smaller and will continue to dwindle. Of course, this might all turn around again. Today anything is possible. Then we move to product manufacturer. What do we mean by this? When you sell products manufactured by others, it's important to remember that these third parties will wish to be clearly named as the product manufacturer. It's also essential that they see that you as a partner are sufficiently future-oriented, that you show promise for the future. Successful business practice is not only about moving your own business forward, it's also about advancing the businesses of those you work with. When it comes to product manufacturing, this is an aspect that absolutely cannot be overlooked. When we come to the all-important USP, the unique selling proposition, the unique product feature, this means that when you're selling a product or service, you must establish what sets you apart from others. Of which characteristic or feature are you the sole owner? In the coming years, I believe that fewer and fewer people will be able to declare themselves owners of a USP. Nowadays, when you look at the products that are tested by expert consumer organisations, like the German Stiftung Warentest, they are pretty much the same. We rarely see products that overwhelmingly break away from or lag behind the rest of the market. Rather, the majority of products meet a standard level. What differentiates one product from another? More and more, it is the stories behind the products that play a pivotal role in their success. Apple was and still is the best example. When they promise something, they have to do it. If they don't, they'll face the irritation of the more rigorous customers who make up a portion of their fan base. If you look at the reviews on Amazon, for example, you see a real war taking place. But what's actually going on? It's simply down to the story, the entire narrative behind the Apple brand. And this makes it enduringly popular. I want to belong to the club too, people say. Does it have anything to do with the products being better? If the product is 0.2 inches thicker or thinner than its competitor, or differs in whichever other minor detail you care to think of, is this really the deciding factor, or is it simply that people want to belong to the club? Whenever you go to a restaurant, the food tastes near enough the same as any other. But what differentiates one restaurant from another? It's the fact that you enter the restaurant and are greeted immediately. Good evening, hello, great to see you again. Please come and sit down. Your table is ready. Here's a little something for you to enjoy while you wait. And for the children we have this and this and this. In other restaurants, the food might taste good and the ambience might be pleasant too. But the difference lies in how you are made to feel when you purchase the product or make use of the service. What emotions do you feel as you eat your meal? In my opinion, that's the future, that a product or service's popularity will cease to be so dependent on the product or service itself. The vast majority of products are more or less comparable. It will become much more about which emotions you have instilled in people, what kind of fan base you've created. However, that's the future. Let's return now to our topic. At the moment, it's still the USP, which is important for your product or services, and which should be named at this point in the process.